Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash in general, and it features some stuff from Season 7, but also in regards to the first stuff we'll go over, Season 8. There's a couple of things to talk about. So yeah, it's crazy to think that this season The Flash is almost over, seeing that it doesn't feel like it was that long ago that we were eagerly waiting for the start of it. Obviously, we haven't had any extensive breaks this season, which we usually got at points in previous seasons due to the fact the season started later due to COVID delays and things like that. But with only 3 episodes left for this season, it won't be too long until we are pretty much just focused entirely on Season 8 and what that will and may not, or just may entail. Some combination of those words. Now, previously we'd heard from Grant Gustin himself, who of course plays Barry Allen, aka The Flash, on the show. I mean, it's season 7. We should all know this by now. Anyway, but yeah, we heard from him that he was in talks to renew his contract for The Flash up to seasons 8 and 9, with it being several months after that in which we got the news that The Flash had actually been renewed for season 8. However, one thing we didn't know was who would be joining him in that next season. Of course, in this season, The Flash, we lost both Tom Cavanagh and Carlos Valdez as regulars on the show, even though they will still appear in episodes later on and in the future. They won't be regulars on the show. And though The Flash went much longer, like a considerable amount longer than the vast majority of shows in regards to not losing any main cast members until much later in the show's run, usually it can sometimes be a sign that another one or two characters or actors may also leave just due to being on the one project for so long, or sometimes contract demands don't work out and it's just easier for the relationship to die and that actor to leave. It's not a certainty, but it can just be the case sometimes. But we do have some news in regards to who is coming back for season 8, but also a suggestion that some might not, according to some people. So Deadline ran this exclusive, which I don't think would normally be news, but I guess there was just so much speculation around the show in general in regards to who would be coming back. They felt it was worth putting it out there as an exclusive piece. But this is what they reported exactly. Exclusive. The Flash original cast members Jesse L. Martin, Candice Patton, and Danielle Panabaker have closed new deals with series producer Warner Brothers Television to continue on the CW drama in its upcoming 8th season. The trio joins star Grant Gustin, whose current contract already goes through next season. Martin's, Patton's, and Panabaker's contracts were up at the end of season 7. The network has not indicated whether season 8 will be the Flash's final chapter. The remaining 2 Flash original cast members, Tom Cavanagh and Carlos Valdez, are leaving at the end of the current 7th season. So yeah, that was that report. Now, while this is good to hear, I think most of us assumed that Danielle Panabaker and Candice Patton would be back to play Caitlin and Iris respectively in season 8. However, Jesse L. Martin returning as Joe was the question mark people had over, main characters, coming back heading into season 8 of The Flash. Now, of course, spoiler alert, for the most recent episode, I guess, they did leave on a bit of a cliffhanger, making us think that Joe was blown up into some many chunks. So this news sort of slapped that cliffhanger into obscurity. Now, as they do state, the contracts ran up at the end of season 7, which had previously been renewed after season 5. Now, Grant Gustin's contract was the only one that went to season 7 from the get-go since season 1, but everyone else was up to season 5, and then they renewed for 2 seasons after that up to season 7, and now's the point that they need to renew again, and that's why you're seeing Tom Cavanagh and Carlos Valdez leaving this season, because they didn't renew past this season. But some of you might be wondering after seeing this article and report, and that is well, what about Cecile? What about Chester? What about Allegra? Why aren't those characters and their actors mentioned in this renewal? Like they are main cast members or series regulars. Are they not coming back? Are we only getting those 3 people coming back? And the answer to that is, I'd assume that they're coming back. I think the reason that they only focus on the 3 actors of Jesse L. Martin, Danielle Panabaker, and Candice Patton is due to, and they suggest this in the article, it's due to the fact that they are original cast members from season 1. Chester and Allegra only became series regulars this season, and Cecile, I think, only became a series regular, and I think 2 seasons ago? Or was it in season 5? I can't remember specifically when she was upgraded to series regular, but it wasn't too long ago. It was definitely not before season 4. So it must have been season 5 or 6 that she got upgraded. So it's not big news in regards to them. Do you think any of those actors really would fit in that title, if you know what I mean? No offense, but they haven't been there since season 1, if you know what I mean. So I'd expect them to be there in season 8. I would actually be surprised if they weren't, especially Chester, because they've done a really good job with Chester. and even Cecile to a certain degree. So I'd be surprised if all of them weren't there, but who knows. But obviously, the article does bring up the question, is Season 8 the last? As the article does say, the network hasn't indicated whether 8 is the last season for The Flash, and this could be something that they would probably know by now. And by they, I mean the network and the showrunners and everything like that. Like, it's not going to be a surprise, oh, we're ending in Season 8 to them. Like, they would know. So, as I've said previously, we should hear about what's going on past Season 8 sooner rather than later, if it's actually going to be the case and if Season 8 is going to be the last. I think we'll know if Season 8 is the last based off what happens even in the finale for this season, in my opinion, because usually when you head into a last season of the show, sometimes they set it up in the finale. They know that's going to be the case. There's some instances where sometimes they make that decision between the end of filming and stuff like that, so you don't get, like, Supergirl, for example, didn't necessarily set anything up for this being their final season, but Arrow, for example, did. So it's whether they know in time, and I think The Flash, because it's such a big show, would know if they were going to end. So I think we'll know by the finale in regards to what they set up if Season 8 is potentially going to be the last. Personally, for me, and I've sort of said this for a while since people have asked me, I think Season 9 will be the final season, but that's for us to wait and find out. It really depends on Grant Gustin. They'll keep doing the show as long as he wants to do it. He'll pretty much be the one that calls it, just like how Stephen Amell called on Arrow. They would have kept doing Arrow, but Stephen Amell wanted to leave, so it's up to Grant Gustin. But yeah, it's for us to wait and find out. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll wait and see. But to finish off the video, we have some stuff in regards to Season 7, and it's this week's upcoming episode. So I've done my trailer breakdown. If you haven't seen that, you can go watch it, where we obviously break down the trailer. That's pretty self-explanatory, but they did release some promo images for this week's episode, which is entitled POW. Just a note, in my trailer breakdown, I made a joke that went POW, and everyone thought I thought that POW standard, like POW standard for POW, and that I hadn't previously mentioned in 2 recent videos that it means prisoner of war. Anyway, so POW is the episode title, or POW, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we'll just go through some of these promo images. So obviously we know that Diggle is back, and Diggle features pretty heavily in these promo images because he's only in like a couple of shots of the trailer. So it's him pretty much showing up in Star Labs with Caitlin and Barry. I'm interested to see what happens with Barry this episode because there are a couple of different shots. Like, if he's with Caitlin, and I don't know if it's necessarily about the pregnancy thing, and maybe he wants to get a second opinion through Caitlin in regards to their tests, because last episode it came back negative, or if it's maybe something to do with him. Maybe he's doing like some tests on himself. I'm not too sure. Maybe Godspeed does something to him. I'm not too sure exactly what's happening there, but Diggle seems to walk in on the testing potentially, at least this conversation between Barry and Caitlin. But this is the thing that we know that Diggle's coming back to in regards to like what he's coming back with when he comes to Central City, and that's this weapon. And we have to assume that Argus has something to do with his weapon, in maybe particular Cisco helped with this weapon. And it's like a sphere. I'm going to assume it's something that either like absorbs speed or something along those lines. Like, we're dealing with a speedster. We know that they're trying to capture one of the Godspeeds. So maybe it's something to do with that. But it seems to have like 2 different parts. Like, Diggle's holding one part while Barry's holding this sphere. So I don't know if I'm not too sure, actually. I'm assuming it has something to do with speed and retracting speed, and so they can capture it, or maybe tracking or something along those lines. Maybe they can just throw it and like it can track down a Godspeed or something like that. It'll be interesting, but it looks pretty high tech. It actually looks fairly interesting. I don't know how it's a weapon though. It's more of like a device, but maybe it does something that makes it a weapon. We'll have to wait and see. But in regards to the actual Godspeed side of things, we have this profile picture. What are we on Facebook? This promo image of this guy here, and this has to be the Godspeed that they capture. You'd have to be this. Do you think this is the Godspeed they capture? This actor is Karan Oberoi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Who has been on CW shows before. He was on I think he was the main, like, a villain or like some sort of antagonist. I think it was on Roswell, New Mexico for a season or 2. That's just from me doing a simple Google search and not watching the show. That's the basic information. So they're doing some sort of like test here. I don't know if this is like injecting him with something to snap him out of being a clone. Because I do wonder if the Godspeed clones are literally like random people that they give like to like velocity, like a velocity solution to, but they become like sort of like mind controlled. And what Caitlin and I guess like Cecile are doing here, it sort of like knocks the person out of it. I'm not too sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. You can see like brainwaves in the background, stuff like that. So it could be something along those lines. I'm interested to see what it is. But yeah, the rest of the promo images here just seem to be them testing out the weapon. Maybe they're using on this dude. I'm not too sure. Maybe they've got like the captured Godspeed like in shackles or something like that, like strung up so he can't get away, and they use the weapon on him. I'm not too sure. And that's pretty much in regards to the promo images. But there's some Iris ones. I'm not too sure where it is, like where they are. Looks a bit weird. Like Barry looks sort of like worried in part, but then Iris sort of looks not worried in one of them. I'm not too sure what's happening here. Anyway, we know Iris is in the episode. Iris hasn't been in 2 episodes in a row now. We know she's back this week. I wonder if she just shows up at the end and that's it. That wouldn't surprise me too much because she's not in anything else, but that's for us to, as I say all the time, wait and find out. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over in this video and everything like that. And just let me know all your thoughts down there. I'm always curious. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.